What's good, y'all? What's the numbers TV? It's your boy Poe Rowe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and like a video if you appreciate the content that Poe Rowe What's the Numbers I provided. Say we back with a profile piece. This one is on Randy Love. In this video, we're going to talk about his early years coming up in Harlem. After that, we will focus on Randy's entry into the underworld and the name he will make for himself in the streets. Then, we'll discuss Randy Love and his relationship with the infamous Harlem kingpin Alpo, who he mentored in the streets during Alpo's younger years, before finally breaking down the situations that currently have Randy Love serving a lengthy jail sentence. Randy Love, real name Randolph Jameson, is from East Harlem. Growing up in and around the Wilson Projects, located on 105th Street and 1st Avenue, would be a little crazy back in the day because that area of Harlem was filled with a lot of drug users and drug dealers. Randy Love will make a name for himself around Harlem for being a vicious dude that was about his business and not to be played with. He was known as a sticker kid to some and a killer to others. He terrorized a lot of people in his area, and a lot of people were scared of Randy and fell in line with whatever he said, although he did have some associates that he did respect in his neighborhood. Local law enforcement also knew who Randy Love was, as he had been arrested a bunch of times in the 80s for charges like robbery and assault, forcing him to spend a lot of time on Rikers Island as well as upstate in the New York State prison system. During the early 80s, Randy Love is credited with being somewhat of a mentor on the streets to Alpo Martinez. Alpo, who would end up becoming one of the biggest drug kingpins to come out of Harlem in the 80s and 90s, would use a lot of the survival tactics that Randy showed him throughout the years in his travels out of town to places like Washington, D.C. Alpo started out in the game with Randy by doing security work for certain drug dealers in Harlem and basically learned how to step his murder game up while hanging with Randy. One story was that Randy would have Alpo go into Dominican ran drug spots in Washington Heights to buy drugs and scope out the place and hear what they were saying because although Alpo looked black, he was of Latino descent and could speak the language. Then, Alpo would report back to Randy with the intel, which was used to rob the drug spots the next time Alpo will go back to re-up on drugs. There's rumors to this day of Alpo and Randy putting in a lot of work in the streets, bodies and all. Alpo eventually branched off to do his own thing because Randy Love would be back and forth to jail so much. But whenever Randy was home, he was still in the east side of Harlem doing his thing and terrorizing people in the community. In June of 1989, Randy Love will be arrested by police and charged with murder in the second degree, criminal possession of a weapon, and criminal possession of a controlled substance. These were some serious charges Randy faced, and he received no bail. While waiting for his day in court, Randy Love will be housed on Rikers Island, where he had a reputation for taking over and controlling the phone wherever he was housed. Randy showed his violent side to whoever opposed him and was known as someone not to mess with, just like in the streets. In April of 1991, Randy Love was convicted of murder in the second degree and criminal possession of a weapon and sentenced to 25 years to life. Then, in June of 1993, Randy was convicted of criminal possession of a controlled substance in the first degree and was sentenced to 15 years to life that he had to serve after he finished his 25 years to life sentence, giving him a total of 40 years to life in prison. From there, Randy would head upstate to serve his time. His name would grow to legendary status according to prison standards for the many battles and wars he was a part of throughout his travels from jail to jail. He was known to go at it with some of the Bloods who had started to take over the prison system in the 2000s. He had many wins over the years but also took his L's like anybody else, but never lost his respect in that yard. Some say he's a true gangster and gentleman that leads with respect but can hit that switch and turn violent in a second. As of right now, Randy Love is trying to get out of jail a few years early to enjoy the rest of his life as a free man. The 15 years to life sentence he received for drugs can be looked at as kind of harsh by today's standards, so he's hoping for some compassion by the courts or the governor. If not, he's up for parole in 2029 when he will be 68 years old. But yo, it's What's the Numbers TV. This is a quick profile piece on Randy Love, real name Randolph Jameson. Now, I'm sure a lot of people done heard about Randy Love. His name, it gets spoken about whenever you hear the Alpo story. A lot of the time, it gets spoken about on these jail stories with all these prison stories that's online and on YouTube. If they've been locked up in New York State, chances are they know of, they heard of Randy Love. They've been with him on the Rikers Island, or they've been with him upstate New York. You understand? Legendary name in the prison system. Also got a legendary name on the east side of Harlem. A lot of people heard of Randy Love. Now, he had some stories that came out recently. Like, one story was one of the L's supposedly that he had took. I think it had something to do with La Brim or something. They jumped him. They supposedly somebody knocked him out. I'm not sure what happened, but there was a fight or whatever, or a jumping that took place, and that Randy was supposedly on the short end of the stick when it came to that situation. But he also has stories with like Mel Cross, who said him and Dick Wolf had a situation with Blue Boy and Randy Love, that they pulled up on him, basically, trying to tell him certain things, and they basically came to an understanding, this and the third. He also has stories like a Sub-Zero, who says, stories that Randy would take the phone off the wall and keep it in his cell on Rikers Island, and you wanted a phone call, you basically had to come ask Randy Love to use the phone. If he messed with you, he might let you rock. Most of the time, he didn't let nobody rock. He controlled the phone from house to house, is what people are saying. K. Slade was a good friend of Randy Love. He always shouted him out on his Instagram. You understand? Like, he got a bunch of people that always speak of his name. Now, he's trying to get home right now. He's been locked up for 30-something years. And he's trying to get free, to have some free time, enjoy the rest of his life as a free man. Will it happen? I don't know. We got to wait and see. But on that note, like I said, it's a profile piece on Randy Love. The only place you're going to get it on YouTube. Like I said, What's Numbers TV, we like to pride ourselves on being the only one where you can find certain profile pieces on certain individuals. And this is just another one to add to the list. Randy Love out of Harlem, east side of Harlem, New York State prison system legend, Rikers Island legend. A lot of people know who he is. A lot of people know of him. A lot of people were scared of him back in the day. Got a lot of stories about him. So this is where you can just find out all the information in one video, put a face to the name. And this is Randy Love profile piece on What's the Numbers TV. Hope you guys appreciate it. Any business, Poro, What's the Numbers at yahoo.com. Also, go follow the Instagram, What's the Numbers TV. Shout out Batty Bill. Shout out Federal A. Shout out WB400. Shout out Angie's World. We working. Go join the Patreon. It's free to join. And there's a bunch of exclusive content going up there like about 2 to 3 times a week. And we about to hit 100K, so if you aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And on that note, it's What's the Numbers TV. It's your boy, Poro. Be back before you know it, man. I'm out of here. Peace.